Somebody, yesterday I made a video about, or I posted on YouTube, I should say, about like how essentially with how you improve, a lot of people will tend to kind of establish this internalized hierarchy. You know, I beat this person, that means I'll always beat this person and I'll never lose to them. And then when people start getting better, then you start getting like salty and shit like that. It's super common, right? It's a very common occurrence. Before we do this, I had a very curious response. So like almost all the responses were very great. Like everyone's like, oh, this is sick. You're doing like great content. I love this video. It really spoke to me. But then someone replied, be careful with your seats. Why? That was awesome. Subscribing. Hope to see more type of content. Also, go easy on the chairs. And one of the things I got asked about it, like how do I change, right? Like how, like I can recognize that I'm doing this, but like I can't change, right? This is like a very common thing I get. I'd say specifically do not touch on topics like how to, you know, change. Let's say I get really angry and I can't stop myself from getting angry. Right? It's easy to like want to feel one way, but not be able to, you know, actually feel that way. You know what I mean? Like you can recognize you have a problem, but not be able to change it. So like this is not really a subject I touch on specifically. The reason why I specifically do not comment on this is because it's not easy to really change yourself. Like it's not just like, you know, snap of your fingers. Recognizing that you have a problem or like recognizing your feelings on like a subject is going to be like it's a big deal, right? Like that's really the first step. As long as you can recognize that you have a problem or that you have like some sort of, you know, you feel a way you do not, that's really the biggest step. That's why I make all my content discussing these things, right? But that's why I don't specifically talk about like how to, you know, like how do I fix this? How do I change how I feel? I'm not a psychologist, right? Like a lot of my experiences are purely just from competing and like, you know, going like really ham in playing. And I love being able to help people get from like, you know, a beginner to being like really consistent. That's like a great feeling. But like for improving, there's a lot more to it. So like, it's like as much as I want to be able to be like, yeah, just do this and your problems will go away forever, it's not that easy. But that doesn't mean it's like impossible. So I'm gonna give you guys some tips on how I kind of adjusted my own mentality over the time, right? Again, I'm not a psychologist. I'm not like a trained professional. I'll give you an example. For me, I put a lot of weight into like who I could beat and like how much success I would have, because when I was younger and I first started fighting games, I had nothing else. Like I was not proud of myself in any way. I was like, I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. All these things contributed to me ending up being like a lot more unhappy with myself, but it also meant that I was a lot more competitive about what I did have. It can be established from other parts of your life that really contribute to how you feel currently. Like even if you have like a bad day, that can impact your mentality in kind of a negative way and even make you relapse into doing things that you would kind of, you know, not do otherwise. This is something I really recognized because when I was younger, all of my self-worth was based on fighting games. How well I did in fighting games was essentially was my ego. If I did really well, I was on top of the world. I was the best in the world. I was the best ever to do it. I'm the best at like basketball, golf, whatever, right? But then I would lose and I'd be like, I have no place in the world. I was toxic because I attached so much of myself to it because I had nothing else. The first part to changing it though, right? If you don't realize like, okay, well, you know, maybe I feel this way, like maybe I'm not as happy with my current situation as I thought I am, or like maybe I'm just more angry for some reason, like anything like that, there could be deeper, you know, there could be deeper occurrences to it. I'm not going to tell you to like, you know, like start therapy or something like that, but what I'm going to tell you, you know, be open-minded about yourself. And this is something that took me a long time to recognize. In fact, not only did it take me a long time to recognize, you know, it required me to be a connoisseur of mushrooms on pizza. You feel me? Once I got to that point, it helped me do a lot of deep soul searching. Recognizing it again is the first step. That's all there is to it. What I did, right, was I would make notes to myself. So like, let's say if I'm like, I don't really want to get angry, like if specifically, I hated getting angry. In fact, this may shock some of you, but when I was younger, I had an anger problem. I had a really bad anger problem. When as I grew up, like I specifically hated how I would get angry, right? Like I specifically hated that, like I would lash out or anything like that over a game. I wrote notes to myself and I checked them frequently, especially when it came to something that was relevant to what would consistently make me angry. So like, let's say if you're the type of person to get really angry over fighting games, I would have notes specifically for if like you get angry playing fighting games, and I would check them while I played, like consistently. People, they'll lose and then they'll just assume the other person is like this dickhead who's like mocking them and like all this shit, and it makes them angry. They like started like a one-sided argument basically in their own head, whereas like the other person is probably like, I don't know, smoking weed, like eating a pizza or something like that. I saw it's like a tweet as well where, you know, like people are like grapplers that like they play in the most ignorant way that gets you so angry, and then like you meet them and they're like the sweetest person ever to exist. When like I get angry over someone that I think is making fun of me, why am I getting angry over it when I don't even know, like I don't even know if they are actually saying shit about me? I'll give you an example of what I did specifically. I hated, again, because I would get angry when I was younger and my ego was attached to fighting games, I would OS hella when I was younger, right? I would hella OS. I'd always be like, you know, specifically, again, I played Potemkin in early Exert. So like I would think like, you know, oh, this person can beat me, but I'm playing Potemkin. So it's like, I mean, he's a low tier. He's the worst character in the game. If I lose, it's expected. If I lose, it's expected. If I win, that just shows how good I am. In fact, there are a lot of players that have this mentality even as they grow, but we'll get to that. So like what I would do is if I lost to somebody like that, like even though I was losing as Potemkin in situations that I think like I would specifically go out of my way and be like, you know what, you're godlike. Thanks for playing me. I really appreciate it. You're sick, right? I'd give them compliments. Like I'd specifically go out of my way to say like, you're awesome. Like people, again, like one thing I didn't understand when I was younger is people excel in different fields. It's like, that means when you're learning a fighting game, even if a matchup's good or bad, people will beat you or lose to you because your fields kind of interact in a way that some people are stronger on defense, some people are stronger on offense. That's basically it, right? Not only that, like, I was thinking about it wrong, but it also helped me get over it because it's like, I met great people. Once you actually compliment someone, like, it's rare someone's be like, you're a bitch. You know what I mean? Like, no one's going to be like, thanks for the compliment, bitch, you suck. Well, I guess there are some people that could do that, but like it's rare. Even if I was like pissed, I was like fuming, like sweating from like how pissed I was, right? I would still be like, you're godlike. Like it would be like that meme. Big shout out to Hexmaniac on Twitter for reminding me of this. I say GG, but it wasn't GG. It was BG. That was actually me. Like internally, that was me, but I was still like, you're godlike, right? This is actually just how I felt, but it helped me, right? That for me personally, it helped me. Some people will not be able to do that, right? Like some people will like, they'll hold it in and then one time they'll just like, they'll do that meme where it's like the one dude shouting at the other one, like the one dude's just shouting at the other person and like the other guy has like a small brain. That's basically that's basically what it was like, or how it will be like if you're just not capable of it. That's why I don't touch upon it a lot, but usually I would always recommend making notes. I'd go out of my way to kind of disprove my own internalized like kind of illusion of what I was thinking about. I would specifically do it because I'd be like, you know, if someone beat me, then, you know, at the end of the day, like it doesn't have to be like, you know, it's feeling themselves over me or they think they're greater than me. When I first thought like that, it was specifically, I did it to disprove that people felt themselves for beating me. Like as I grew up, it became, why does it even matter if they do think they're better than me, right? This is why I have the mentality I do. And this is why I also make content the way I do, right?